This is a primetime local news update.
I'm Jasmine King, and this is a primetime local news update. There are 13 new cases of COVID-19 in the province of Saskatchewan, bringing the total to 206. There is 4 people currently in hospital due to the virus, 96 cases are from travelers, 44 are community contacts, including mass gatherings. Canada's COVID-19 count has now surpassed 10,000 cases across the country, with a large cluster in Quebec. Latest reports out of Quebec show there are more than 4,500 cases of virus in the province, while Ontario reports more than 2,700 confirmed cases. There are more than 120 reported deaths and more than 1,500 recovered patients nationwide. Canada has already tested more than 260,000 people. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said there is information coming soon on the scale of the virus's spread. Trudeau continues to implore Canadians to stay home if they want to come out of the pandemic sooner rather than later, saying there are still too many people going out unnecessarily. He has yet to offer specifics on what his government's death toll projections are, despite such fatalities projections being shared publicly in other countries. We will be providing the latest updates from our city and both provinces on our Facebook page. That's it for today's Daily News Update.
Here for the Daily Update, Thursday, April 2, 2020, regarding COVID-19 in the city of Lloydminster. And today we have 2 questions from Primetime Local News. First question, is the city considering any changes to taxi operations in the city to prevent the spread of COVID-19?
So the City of Lloydminster follows the orders of the Provincial Health Authority and the provincial governments. So as of right now, taxi and transit services are considered an essential service for the city. So while they are an essential service, we do encourage all essential services, including taxi, to take good sanitizing and cleaning practices into their business, and also encourage operators to maximize the space between them and passengers.
When the city amended the state of local emergency, closing all non-critical and non-allowable businesses, did the city reach out to each business, and was there any pushback?
Yeah, so when the city did amend the order pursuant of the state of local emergency to mirror the same order as the government of Saskatchewan had put out on March 26th, we did, through our business and economic development at the city, reach out to all local businesses that held a business license to begin working with them and providing clarity and context. And that has continued to this day. Our city is working closely with our business development in the community to ensure that the economic benefits of the city keep going.
All right, I'm very pleased to be joined with Mark Henshaw, a Canadian who's currently living out in Wuhan, China. First off, Mark, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Talk about just the general feeling in China, because I know that's kind of where the birthplace of the coronavirus has happened. So I guess what's just the general feeling overall right now?
Well, at this moment in time, people are looking forward to going outside again. April 8th is the date that we will be able to leave our homes again. So people are pretty excited about that.
What was the I know the country was on a bit of a lockdown for a bit. What was it going through your mind when you found out that the country was on a lockdown?
Well, I was a little worried because, not because of the lockdown part, but more because of the virus. I happen to be fortunate to have friends who are in science, so I've heard a lot about different, viruses, diseases, and stuff. I was more concerned about the virus than I was about the lockdown. So when I first heard, I was like, whoa, this must be pretty serious. And one thing I liked about it was that China was taking a stand on trying to isolate people from potentially further spreading the virus.
Now, you were telling me off camera before we started, you are a teacher. You teach English in Wuhan. What has that been like for you personally? And then, of course, like many schools have had to close here in Canada. Has it been kind of the same down where you are?
Yeah, it's been a good experience. The school I work for has fortunately enabled me to keep working. I've been making videos for my students, and yeah, that's enabled me to get paid. So I'm very fortunate. It's been a very good experience in that sense. Whereas I know some other foreign teachers, their work stopped completely and they have no payment at all. So the fact that I can continue to buy groceries and stuff is obviously essential. So I'm very happy about that.
And how have you been able to, were you told to self-isolate when the country kind of first started taking notice of the whole coronavirus?
Yeah, that was the general message. It was just that, like there's a virus spreading. We don't know how bad it is, but it can kill people. So please stay at home. Yeah,
And how long have you been in isolation for, as of right now?
69 days.
And I guess how have you been handling the isolation process? I know that's a long time compared to a lot of us here that may have not have had that much time to self-isolate, but 69 days, that's just a lot of days inside.
Yeah, it is. Well, again, I think I'm fortunate about another situation. I'm living with my girlfriend, so the fact that I have somebody here that I can talk to, the fact that I can connect with them, or just even having just knowing that she's there, like the fact that we don't even talk to each other that much in a day, but knowing that she's there is great. Cooking together, doing activities together. Like our latest thing on jigsawpuzzle, I think.com. It's a free website. We do puzzles together. So things like that really help. But otherwise, I've been exercising inside. I've been learning new recipes like Chinese recipes and things. Um, been filling my time really well. But if I didn't have somebody that I was living with, I can imagine it would be a much more difficult situation.
Joined here today with Michelle Hamilton, a psychologist here in Lloydminster. Michelle, thank you for taking the time and joining me today.
You're welcome, Eric. Thank you for asking me.
No problem. And now, obviously, some extreme times right here, some uncertainty, a lot of people in isolation. So tell me a little bit about what people are feeling right now that you are seeing out there.
I mean, I think all around the world we're experiencing a lot of similar struggles here with the fact of a real increase in stress and anxiety because there is so much uncertainty. And so, I mean, isolation, uncertainty, fear, and loss, those are pretty realistic factors that I think all humans are currently facing. And those are pretty major stressors, no doubt about it.
And obviously very natural to be feeling right now, but what can people be doing here to kind of lessen that stress, some strategies maybe to cope with that in times like these?
Well, first off, I want to really encourage, there's a couple of points I want to share with you here. Um, at a time like this, I do believe that it's really important to limit and monitor, kind of what we expose ourselves to in terms of particularly information, media, news and social media, especially the focus being on the pandemic and all of the implications of it. So I really do think that limiting exposure is one important piece. Another really important piece that I think is worth expanding on is the importance of quite purposefully creating new schedules and new routines. There's some really important basic human needs that we all have and that we want to really focus on at a time like this in terms of, first of all, taking care of our most basic human needs, the physiological needs. Those are things like the need for food, water, sleep, shelter, right? Hopefully, most of us can focus on being grateful that we have enough of all of those things. We can drink plenty of water, we can create and cook up some healthy meals for ourselves at home. Maybe people are rediscovering the benefits of home cooking and not relying so much on takeout and restaurants. pull out some old cookbooks. And, I mean, for those of you like me who still have like home cookbooks and things like that, I think baking is another thing for myself. I maybe get a little carried away because I do find comfort in, in that kind of stuff. Sleep and routines around sleep are obviously really important. Sleep may be disrupted when people are affected by stress. And in particular, the need for movement, obviously exercise, to take a break from sitting or working, or finding a way to pace yourself so that if you are working from home and sitting in front of a computer, that in between sessions or meetings, that you are able to get up, walk around, stretch, maybe access some YouTube videos about exercise, maybe dance around the kitchen a bit, do some yoga. Those are all some really important basic things.
So what you're saying is to right now look on the bright side of things, maybe take that opportunity to rediscover that love of cooking or to try something new right now?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I do think I want to kind of sum up some suggestions that I have for folks with something I just kind of summarized. Simply the idea of the 4 big C's for coping with the pandemic. Okay, this is just a little thought on that I came up with here. First, comfort zone. You know what? This is the great time to focus on creating and enjoying the comforts of home. So if there's anything that you particularly can focus on that feels comforting, whether it means staying in your pajamas with your slippers on and or cuddling up with your pet. In fact, here's my little dog. I don't usually get to work with him on my lap. And the other C is connect. This is a perfectly good time to really reconnect, whether that is by video conferencing, which is great, FaceTime, Skype, or Zoom meetings, but also to make some phone calls, like call some old friends, connect with older relatives that might be quite isolated. So I want to really encourage people to really think about creating time every day to quite purposefully connect. The other thing is creativity. I think that if there's an opportunity for you to rediscover again something that you might have enjoyed in the past but haven't picked up in a long time, this would be a great time to pull out some, artistic or other, creative endeavors, whether that be puzzle making, drawing, knitting, or, hobbies of such nature. And then finally, consistency. As I said, the idea of creating new routines, like learning how to adapt in light of a crisis and in light of such significant change, to be flexible, because those of us that are resilient human beings, which I hope many of you are, right? We do need to really be conscious about how we have to quite purposefully develop adaptability and flexibility in accommodating all the changes that are happening here.
And now, just really quick, I do want to touch on that connect that you mentioned. It's something that leaders all over the world have been stressing too at the moment, but just how big a difference does it make that, maybe 5 minutes just picking up the phone, how big a difference does that make for people?
Well, I think most people would agree that when you do spend time, whether it's by phone or by video conference, I think the facial connection that we get when we see each other's faces is especially beneficial if there's the option. I think it creates a very important sort of sense of re-energizing, and kind of lightening the energy that we feel, because it feels awfully heavy when we focus on all the bad news and all the fear and all the uncertainty. So we got to find ways to connect with people and experiences that lighten us up and help us feel uplifted.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time with me today, Michelle, and sharing all these topics with me. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks. And take good care of yourself. And let me know if I can do this again sometime.
Will do, for sure.
Right on.
Joining me today is a Lloydminster local hockey player who went off to the WHL, more specifically finished off in Kamloops this season, Zane Franklin. Zane, thanks for taking this time.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Now, Zane, throughout your career, you really start to progress, in your first season, having 5 goals, second 14, and then doubling that with 28 in your second, and then 29 in your final season. What do you think that was from? Was that just confidence within the league?
Yeah, I think confidence is a huge thing, no matter what you do, just in life in general. And then, I think opportunity is a big one too. I know getting traded to Kamloops was a huge blessing. Instantly got to play a little bit more, and I think when you're playing more, you get more chances to score, and luckily I capitalized on them.
Yeah, fourth in the league this past season in the WHL in points, and as well a couple of your teammates were up there with you. You guys had a really deep team. In fact, the best record-wise in the BC division. What do you think about your team's play this past season?
Yeah, our team was awesome. Right when our coach got there, he wanted us to play fast, and I think that really suited our team. Playing with the other two guys you talked about being up there, Santazo and Zari, they're awesome. They made it easy to get those assists. They scored a lot, so it was really good. It was a good group, good line, so it worked out good.
Now, you kind of touched on it earlier in the interview about getting traded from Lethbridge to Kamloops and just getting, more opportunities to really shine and be on those top lines. But you were also thrown into a leadership role in your first season with Kamloops. What was that like, being an assistant and then later a captain for them?
Yeah, it was awesome. It didn't overwhelm me. I don't think. I thought, it was a younger team when I got there, so I kind of thought maybe I'd have to, fill that role, and it worked out really good. And I liked being the assistant captain, and I loved being the captain this year. So it worked out really good. It's fun, taking some guys under your wing, and it worked out really good.
Now, Zane, for yourself, graduating out of the WHL and out of junior hockey in total, what are any future hockey plans for yourself?
Well, I'll play hockey next year. Just not sure yet where. I think once this, everything starts clearing up, and and the hockey season either resumes or they cancel, I think then everything will start to figure out what's the plan for next year. And I'm just waiting right now. And I'm in no rush. Whatever happens. I'll be happy either way.
And Zane, obviously with the COVID-19 virus going around, how has this affected your off season?
Yeah, it's been a little weird. I live out on a farm just north of Marwayne a little bit, so I haven't left very much. I've just kind of been isolating out here. We're cabbing right now, so I'm keeping busy with all that. So I'm not like most people stuck inside all day. I get fresh air and keeping busy.
Well, Zane, thank you for taking this time and joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.